2, 3, 4. Verse. Pre-chorus. Chorus. Pre-chorus. Chorus. Bridge. Bridge. Build.
Hey everybody, my name is Mark, and we are breaking down the acoustic parts today for a song called Love is Calling Out. As you probably just watched, my approach was actually pretty simple. When you're making a record or playing acoustic guitar live, there's a couple key things that I usually keep in mind when I play. I used to think like, man, I have to drive this song with my guitar. Like I have to really dig in and carry it. But the first thing that I really think about is how can I serve the song? Which means it doesn't sometimes need a lot from me. You might have even noticed that like verse 1, I sat out entirely. Verse 2, pre-chorus 2, I sat out entirely. Because the difference between where there's no acoustic in that section to when it opens up and there is acoustic in the chorus makes that feel so much bigger. The second thing that I think about is just the feel. Like this is both a melodic and a percussive instrument. So there's spots like on that pre-chorus where I'm actually like playing it with my thumb because it's warm and it's round versus the pick scrape of the pick, which feels a lot more bitey and a lot more present. That's the percussive side of this instrument. And even depending on like where you play between where the fretboard and the bridge meet, if I play way back here by the bridge, it's all tin and bright. If I play up here by the neck, it's kind of rounded, whatever. I usually play about 3/4 of the way between. And you might have even noticed, like, I used to be a very heavy-handed guitar player when I was younger. And I would be the guy who'd be like, let me get full volume out of this guitar. But it's actually an acoustic instrument. So what I've learned over time is that less is actually more. That if I barely rake the strings, I can let the instrument sing and it projects, and it overall volume might not feel louder, but it feels fuller and more robust. And so that's why you'll hear people say like, oh man, their tone is in their fingers for a guitar player. Because what they're saying is, if you play it, I can get this. You can hear the pick versus you just hear the slam. And so like I'm raking the strings. The other thing with the feel I broke down on this song is just to be overly consistent. Like the strumming pattern on that chorus is just jung 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 da ja ga jung 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 jung. It's really, really simple and it's repetitive because as a percussive instrument, your acoustic guitar has the opportunity to either make the song feel frantic or feel settled. And so as an acoustic player, you have to think about like, how am I laying with the drums? Like let the drums lead me rather than pulling the drums. Because if I'm on top of the beat and I'm rushing and a little bit, everything, even my downs and my ups aren't steady, it feels uneven and unsettled. So that's kind of like the way I approach the song as a whole. This particular song, I'm playing in G shapes. Song is in G, and I'm actually capoed 1 because my big secret is I always tune my acoustic guitar down a half step. Why? Because I like the way it sounds better. A half step lower, I feel like it's richer, it's fuller, and it gives me more options where a song that's in, D flat, I can now play open Ds. But anyway, so this song is capo 1 for me, capo none for most people. But the shapes are really, really simple. I'm just playing standard kind of a G, G, D, C. And then I was playing some different shapes on like the pre-chorus and the bridge. And all that they are is they're a C shape, up 2 frets, and that's now a D. And then an E minor is up 2 more frets, but you have to make that one go down a half step to make it a minor chord. So this is what that sounds like in that pre. It's just... And I'm actually muting the E string with my thumb, and I'm not even playing the high E string. So it's just these middle 4 strings that we're playing. If I were to play all the strings, it sounds kind of messy. So that's one of the ways that I've kind of learned over time to play a little bit more with a finesse in my hands, is to be precise about which strings I'm going to play and which strings we're not going to play. So even as you're approaching a song similar to this, less is going to be more. It's just going to be to simply go, okay, what's going to serve the song? and it's okay to sit out and let something breathe. Strumming pattern. Now, if we move forward to the bridge section, it's actually I'm just kind of playing more of an eighth note thing. And even when I get to that G chord, I'm literally muting the A string with the back of my hand, and I'm only playing the top 5 strings. I'm not even playing that high E string. So it's not a full G chord. But that sometimes even with an acoustic guitar, not every single note needs to be in the chord, because some of those notes are coming out in other instruments, if that makes sense. And it seems counterintuitive, but the way that we think is, if I give it more, then it's going to feel fuller. But the truth of the matter is, there's only so much space that can be occupied in a sound recording. And if 2 instruments are playing the exact same note in the exact same frequency and register, they actually start to cancel each other out. So when you create more space, the mix actually sounds bigger and fuller than you would have imagined. When you actually peel it back, you go, oh, that's all that it is? It's just simple open chords to let them ring and let them carry out. So that's kind of the breakdown of how this song works. I hope you're able to take that, apply it to this song, but maybe even take some of those ideas and apply them to other songs, because really that principle and philosophy, it translates to another song. And let's be honest, a lot of songs in praise and worship are 72, 74 BPM, which is what this is. So this is like bread and butter. If you can lock this thing down, you can lock down 60 or 70% of the songs that you're going to play at church on the weekend. The last thing that I would throw out with this as a whole is to think about how big the band is that you're in. So the more people, the less that you need to play. If you think about it this way, there's 100% of sound that can happen at any given time. And if it's just me and my guitar, this is 100% of the sound. I'm going to probably play more aggressively. And more rhythmically and more notes. But if I've got another guitar player, another keys player, a bass player, and a drummer, I'm going to create more space with it, and that same section would feel more like this. And what that does is it creates space for other things to happen, because you can't get more than 100% when it comes to sound. So if I'm now responsible for only 20% of the sound with me and my other 5 instrument buddies, then I need to only contribute 20% of the overall sound, rather than bringing 100% of my thing with them bringing 100% of their thing. And you're going to make your sound engineer's job easier. You're going to make the people in the congregation's job easier, because you literally start to mix yourself as a musician with your other teammates and bandmates and worship team members in that approach. So, man, I just want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. Keep playing that guitar. Keep doing it for God's glory. And let's do this thing together. Let's get better. Let's grow together. Have a good one.